we're now going to go over some additional tools for creating complex control icons. And in this case, we're going to go over the text tool, which you can see in the background. You create polytext or curves, and the nonlinear deformers. So I'm going to go into the option for our text, and I'm going to make one called face control or face controls, like that. And you can see it says curves on here. If you click the little down arrow, you can pick different fonts and different styles. And I'm just going to say create, and we get the word face controls. Now let's say I wanted this to be wrapped around kind of his head, like it's kind of just arcing like a rainbow type of thing above his head, kind of like how this is done. So now with the actual transform or the group selected, I go to form and I go into nonlinear, and I'm going to go into the bend. Now these are all different types of tools that manipulate and modify groups of objects. So I go into the options here. Oh, it's actually, I just wanted to create that, so let's do that. So I just go into nonlinear, and I'm just going to create the deformer like that. Now it creates this stick here. Now when we go into the history node, you see we have curve, low bound, high bound. Now all the tools kind of work, all the nonlinear deformers kind of work like this. So if I click on curve and middle mouse drag, you see it's kind of skewing one side. Now I don't want to put it on too high right now. This is actually always affecting this curve, or these curves on here. If I rotate this, you see how it starts bending it down. So I'm going to make sure I have it at -90 degrees. Now we could move this curve around in all different manners. We could translate it up, and you'll see how it compresses and down and expands. You know, I can push it further away. That doesn't really do that much. But the more I rotate it, and more you can get different types of effects on here. So that being said, I want to curve this more. So if I go back in the bend, I can say curvature like that. And I can get to the point where I can really curve something around. So this is great for like the master icon on the bottom base on here. So let's say I wanted it like that. If I wanted to taper off all the actual the bounds on here, this is actually one bound on here, and you see how it affects, so I can have it kind of like it's going off a cliff like that. And this is the other side like that. All the tools have a similar effect on this. So now I'm going to uncurve that a little bit because I want it just to be like that. And now I'm going to grab the curve above it, sorry, the transform above it, and I'm going to delete history on it. And I have a button for deleting history right here. Okay, so it's there. Now I want to combine these together. So if I go into this tool, you see we got a lot of different shapes. So I'm normally going to hold down Shift and expand. We need to delete history, freeze transforms on all these. Now I should be able to do this by clicking on the main one and saying freeze transforms. Oh, that did not do what I wanted it to do. So let's actually go through and select these all like this, and I'll freeze transforms. Good. Okay. So now we're going to want to combine these into groups. So we're going to do the same combining method as last time. So I have nothing selected. I hit Command G. This is going to be a lot of display. So I'm going to open the shape nodes. And I'm actually going to go in reverse order just so I make sure I get them all. Hold down Command, and I'm selecting each shape. If you don't freeze transforms on those, this will not work. Okay, so I got all the shape nodes selected, and now my last one is the transform that it wants to go into. Type in parent, -S, -R, shape and relative, and it crushed everything together. So why did it do this? Now this is because I probably should have seen this from when I froze transforms on it, that it was actually kind of acting weird on here. So what I'm going to do is instead, I'm going to grab all these controls, and I'm going to hit Shift P, which will unparent it for its current group. See, I never had transforms removed on there. So you got to see what happens when you don't freeze transforms properly on it. So now I will freeze transforms on this, and we'll do that again. I'll just expand these. Let me go backwards, so it's a little easier, faster. Okay, so now I'll go through and I'll hold down Command and I'll select all these. Okay, and I left my null up here. So my null's right here. So this is the last thing. This is what I'm sending it to. And I'm going to type in parent. Now I don't have to type this again. If I press up on my keyboard, it'll give me the last command I did in here. Boom, it worked. So I go to display and I click off shape. And now I can select anywhere and get that whole control on it. And this can be moved anywhere as a control icon. The pivot point can be moved after the fact and whatnot. So this can be encapsulating around the character's head. Now I'll warn you, don't go too crazy with text or any of these complex shapes. Make sure that the stuff you're creating this for, it makes sense. It doesn't over clutter the scene, because really complicated shapes and different things like that can draw the animator away from what you're actually wanting to show off. So do be careful about that. But at this point, we can delete all the residual stuff in here. I don't need all these extra shapes and everything like that, or transforms. And there we go. So that's different ways of creating control icons.